Hey everybody, so welcome to a brand new video, brand new year and a brand new stock market. And I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hope their New Year's was everything they're expected. 2025 and 2026 is going to be even better. And so this is a brand new year and the stock market is kicking off. I know it started on the first and then on the second, and really it was really this Monday was the first really day of everything getting back to normal, and then Tuesday and then Wednesday. So you know like the Christmas season finally ended on January 2nd, was depending how you celebrate Christmas and the New Year's and all that. But like everything's saying, it's kind of the same winners are continuing to run. Today I want to discuss about Palantir, just all the great news that's come out recently, the last few days. Trust, it's the Analysts. They bumped their initiated coverage on Palantir, and they increased their initial coverage was like 222, so $222 was their coverage, and they're giving it a buy there, and just falling in line with a lot of the other analysts out there that are really believe that Palantir is going to be continue to be a winner, and it's the kind of the golden child of the AI stocks out there. They're finally admitting to that I think a lot of the haters and doubters are trying to push it down in December and November, and that didn't work. And then this year, it's already starting to take off. So today it was up around $5 to $7. It's still going up, and I think this is going to could be its year, sort of how Tesla had its year of really taking off to the moon. So in really breaking out per se. So I'm just continuing my DCA and just adding to it as I go, but it's finally, I love to see these analysts really jump on board the positive train as far as seeing what they're saying and really proving what Palantir's been up to and what they've been doing. So you've seen so many news articles like it's overvalued, this and that. There's one today. It was the number one artificial intelligence AI stock to buy before it soars, and of course it's they weren't talking about Nvidia or Tesla. They're talking about Palantir and how they gave their take on why it could be into the Palantir could finally go into the club with Nvidia and Tesla. But before the last November, December, right after the earnings per se, and then they're just really harping on Palantir, how it's overvalued and all these AI stocks are overvalued, and it just almost just to drive the stock down. I think that was their game plan, and then waiting for January. So November and December they were really trying to tank the stock, and then even in the late December, but I think a lot of that had to do with people were just selling it for tax purposes, and either taking their gain or their loss or anything like that, and they're just tax reasons. I think that was a lot of the end of the year selling. And then once that all passed, I just ignored that noise because I figured that's what it was. It was for tax reasons. But and then after yesterday and then Tuesday and then today, it's finally really taking off. Yesterday and today, so they had that good news on I think it was on Tuesday with Trust initiating coverage as a buy, and their price target is 223. Yeah, they initiated coverage on there, and the valuation is still stays in play, but they're not looking at worrying so much about the valuation. There's just how much potential Palantir has going forward, and That's why they're initiating the coverage, it looks like. And then I think we're just waiting to see what happens. It's the first of the year, and I kind of give it a couple weeks to see how this market plays out for the rest of the year. And usually January sets the tone for the rest of the market. So we're at January 8th here. It's kind of early innings here for the market. So you got to wait and see what's going to happen. But great news with Palantir, with some of the positive feedback from analysts, and then just they're not being so negative as far as these news articles that are coming out trying to push the stock down. I think that's a good sign, because you don't want bad headway all the time, constantly negative pressure on a certain stock. And just compared to any other stock out there that is in the AI space, especially, Palantir is always it's number one. They've been beating all their estimates every earnings quarter that they've had. And yeah, they're just saying a lot of sentiment out there is that these analysts have missed the boat. They jumped the gun kind of on missing Palantir last year, so I guess they're going to try to make up for it this year. And there's a lot of AI optimism out there, a lot of contracts that they're getting that a lot of these AI companies aren't getting. So there's a lot of contract wins and a lot of AI optimism that Palantir is really getting strength on. So but then again, all these tech stocks are up today, so you can't look at that. Well, most of them. And you just got to see where it plays. It's only been a few days since January, so we got to wait to see what happens, how the market's going to play out for the rest of January and then this year. So right now, Palantir is up $6.22. It was really just taking off this morning, but it seems the main thing, hold those gains. The main thing is just trying to get over this $200 level. It did at earnings for a little bit, went up to 207, right around there. But the big thing is I'm not really following crazy, because I just really want to see it get over that $200 price before anything. Consider it's going to go have a major run. It just has to get through the resistance level at 200, and it's kind of like a price point that 200 is really a nice number, that it's in the big leagues finally, and not saying that 200 is crazy. Last year we were talking about in the 20s and the 40s. It was a good run to 40, and now it's and we're talking about 200 now. But I think this is going to be Palantir's year. You can quote me on that if you want, and I think that's what's going to happen. I didn't want to celebrate too much when it went over 200 right around earnings, because it was the first time, and it was kind of just sky high. But I think that's the magic number, is 200. If Palantir can get over 200 and stay there, it's in the big leagues with the rest of them, with NVIDIA, Meta, Amazon, and all those stocks. It just has to, if we can see that over the 200 range and then really start taking off, building up, and then just keep these earnings going. And eventually the PE will drop as their numbers grow and their earnings grow. And then that $200 price target and won't be a big deal as far as the PE goes. So let's see what happens there. But it's just my take on Palantir today. I just wanted to give my thoughts on what happened in the last few days, and then these analysts, and then I had that trust, analyst, the $200, 223 price target, and there's a lot of other ones that are giving that price target as well. But I hope you liked this video, and I hope it was useful, and let's see what happens with Palantir. It's just the beginning, and it's all what happened in the past is I think it's just setting the stage up for a bigger run into 2026 into the future, where you're gonna see millionaires made and maybe stock splits down the road, and lives changed over Palantir. And I think that's what the future holds.